All right, so thank you very much. Hopefully that's progress, stepping in the right direction. Should I cook something or no? Okay, so Fight Club Psychology, which is really cool. Movie psychology is awesome. I didn't think how awesome it is. I really like the idea of the star perspective. Wow, I always thought that the star is the good guy. Yeah, and you want the star to win for the most part, right? And then that's why the movie industry is amazing, because it's the psychological, it's the how we reflect upon it over the years, and it refines the movie and the industry and the world as a whole. Hopefully, it's a good movie. And I can conclude with Braveheart right now that it's a good movie, especially as he turns his other cheek at the end of my review, our review, or the analysis. I didn't know it was that good. I listened to it; it sounded really good to me, at least, right? If anybody else is interested. But Fight Club is also one of my most favorite movies of all time, and very R-rated movie. So you have Ed Norton, who's more of you're going to start this off with a little bit of a joke. I would say almost a nerdy character, but he has a job. And that's the idea. I was going to say, I'll leave the stupidity out of it, or the hardcore dumb puns. Edward Norton has a job. He has it all put together pretty much. He doesn't understand why he's still not happy or still not content, okay? And it's interesting as I reflect on it now. And it looks like Brad Pitt has it all together from my perspective of Ed Norton's character, which is really Tyler Durden at the end. That's what the movie's role play is, the character Tyler Durden, which is why it's such a great film, in my opinion. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, just the way it hit me the other day. This through the Holy Spirit, faith and family. How great this movie is, and it's a great movie for men specifically. I could be, it's a little tough, but you also have Marla Singer, and that's what they call her in the movie, right? Who smokes cigarettes. I went on a tangent a bit, and she's torn as well, but she's, what Edward Norton is going for, right? Anyway, so Ed Norton's character is a nerd, pretty much, right? Not a nerd, but he's lacking some strength and physicality with that Brad Pitt has, almost like the fighter mentality. And that's the idea the movie gave me the whole time, right? But then you have Brad Pitt, who seems like he has it all together, right? But he's at a bar beating the crap out of people. He looks far more, attractive to me, as I think of him, as a young man growing up. He looks great in the red jacket. I started to laugh. He looks very fertile, for lack of the S word. I don't want to make. He looks sexy. He really does. He has that look, and he always does, Brad Pitt. But Ed Norton can too, if he feels like Anyway, I don't want to tangent too much onto those thoughts at the moment. But he looks great. You want to be like Brad Pitt, so you think. However, and this is what I shouldn't say you, or I did, or maybe many young men did at that point in their life, right? Even Ed Norton seemingly wants to be like Brad Pitt, right? In the movie, Brad Pitt's, or Tyler Durden, really, right? And it's very interesting, too, as I'm going to go along here. However, as I look at it now as a 40-year-old man, Brad Pitt's character, or let's say, Brad Pitt's version of Tyler Durden, where this is the whole idea of this movie psychology. Beautiful, thank God, to put this together like that. And I have the love of my life as well, right? So, Brad Pitt could be looking at Ed Norton. Why does he, need Ed Norton, right? And because now that I look at it as a 40-year-old man, Brad Pitt's smoking cigarettes. He's beating the crap out of himself at a bar late night, drinking beer on the side of a road. Think about that, right? Maybe Brad Pitt has a severe drug problem, right? Or maybe he just could use a steady help and guidance towards getting a steady job in one way or another. Where Ed Norton seems to have the intelligence to keep a job, to keep an apartment, to keep it clean, right? But he's still dying on the inside as well. And then Brad Pitt can survive. He can survive too if you look at the house. So I could be wrong on this, but yeah, I don't think I am as I look at it now. Wouldn't you like Brad Pitt to be a little bit softer in ways, a little bit more like Ed Norton, or maybe about 50-50 on the whole thing? So it's interesting how the movies put me in that situation where I want to be like Brad Pitt, and I feel more like Ed Norton. And this is all the direction, right? If you see where I'm going with it. Meanwhile, at the end of the movie, you're just becoming Tyler Durden. You don't even know the character's name. And it's interesting how, Brad Pitt says that at the end. He actually, blows Brad Pitt's idea out of the way. Which Marla was clearly interested in that side of Brad Pitt. But then when she saw how violent and angry it is, as he built an army and just, all we had to do was go to church. I want to keep saying go to church. But yeah, of course, get married, relax, and, would work out our problems as husband and wife. Meanwhile, she still did want him to toughen up in so many ways, but she didn't see the good qualities in Ed Norton. He has an apartment. He's well organized. He's clean. He dressed nice. He was rather humble in so many ways. He didn't seem to bother anybody at work either, right? He just was kind of minding his business a lot until the point where the niche kicks in. I have to prove. I love this woman that I keep running into. I gotta fight for her. I don't want to, but it's just happening. And that's where he, the niche psychology, that is Nietsch, which is the Ubermensch, right? He becomes, which is really like the Christ, right? In ways the best a man could be. They call it the Ubermensch. I guess that's a little bit of German. And that's what Ed Norton becomes by admiring another man, Brad Pitt. Now, the thing that really throws me off here is Brad Pitt says he makes and sells soap, so maybe he doesn't need Ed Norton at all, which could work too. With an ultimate higher power thing, and that's fine as long as Ed Norton gets to be Holy Spirit on the chessboard at the end of the day with Marla Singer and Brad Pitt in his alternate universe. If you've been following, that makes sense. With Angelina, let's of course, right, or Angela, his wife, blah blah blah. Even in relation to the movie characters of them both having a split personality there, and they become one, at the end of the character is Tyler Durden. Tyler Durden is the star of the movie, right? Ed Norton plays parts of Tyler Durden, while Brad Pitt plays parts of Tyler Durden, but they just become Tyler Durden, and that's the star of the movie, right? Co-starring Marla Singer. Now, it's interesting to I'd love to hear a woman's take on the movie, right? Or is it too far on the masculine tangent for a woman to even appreciate at this point? I could be wrong, because there's many scenes with Marla, and it's interesting. I could be, because it's very heavy on the testosterone, right? Yes. So I mean, at least in my opinion. But how is it not starring Marla Singer? I'm not even sure of her name, right? It's just it's really, So I wonder, and this could start a heck of a buzz for the Ubermensch of the best of female committee, which is still the Christ angle at the end of the day, right? Are really in Catholicism, we would go another thing. What's the best the woman could be, right? So you're not saying, Christ, male or female, but people would get angry at that. They might, right? And it makes sense too, because you wouldn't want a woman, hurt, beat up like that, right? You want, and that's but it doesn't say that women don't suffer either, and you don't want them to. I don't want to suffer, but the Ubermensch in the suffering of Marla Singer becoming clean and coming to terms with, wow, she's rather skinny in the movie. Maybe I should just have a donut, I'm sorry, I don't need to beat up my man. It becomes love at the end of the day. He needed some of this character, and it reminds me so much of me and other men as well. And now the question for the world is, did Brad Pitt need any of Ed Norton? And if I look at it right now, if I view it right now, he makes it, he sells soap, he's on a plane. Maybe not, but you're still showing the image of smoking cigarettes, you're drinking beer, you're beating the crap out of people, bleeding out of your mouth, right? And so I would say at this point in my life, it would be nice to say he equally needed just as much of Ed Norton's image as Ed Norton needed Brad Pitt's image, right? It's almost like Brad Pitt needed to hit it would be nice if he hit the books a bit more. Well, Ed Norton would be nice eating a cheeseburger and heading to the gym.